Let's bring in Barbara Leaf. She is a former U.S. Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs. She's also a distinguished diplomatic fellow at Middle East Institute and joins us live now from Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. In the last couple of hours, Trump has said that Israel won't strike Qatar again. But how much control does he have over Israel's decisions at this point?
Ultimately, I think he has enormous influence, enormous control, and it's really a question of how he intends to use that. He has twice now said that this kind of attack will not happen again. So I would expect that that would be the case if he's serious about that.
Well, despite the attacks in Doha, Qatari officials are still willing to mediate negotiations. That's something that Rubio is working to revive as well, as he spends some time in Israel. Taking into consideration the history of the talks so far, will mediators be able to restart the negotiating process?
It will be difficult, but I think there's absolutely no alternative at this point. And indeed, although the Qataris initially announced after Tuesday's attack that they would suspend their participation, they reversed that stance after calls with the president and other administration officials. And I think it's clear from what the emir has said, Sheikh Tamim, as well as the prime minister, foreign minister, that they are remain dedicated to the proposition of bringing the hostages home and bringing an end to the war.
We are approaching the UNGA, where Israel does continue to grow more and more isolated, but the international condemnation has done little so far to stop Israel from committing the atrocities that we're seeing on the ground in Gaza. What do you foresee happening in the next couple of days during the UNGA regarding, Israel being held accountable for what it's done so far?
So look, there's going to be a lot of heated rhetoric, a lot of tough words. You're going to see a number of countries that have already announced their intention to recognize the state of Palestine that week. They will move forward. Unfortunately, that doesn't really change, doesn't have any direct bearing on events on the ground, whether in Gaza or the West Bank. So the question is really how the administration intends to use the hostage negotiations to drive to something enduring. And I, for one, continue to wonder why Hamas is the party for that post-conflict discussion. It really ought to be the PA.
Indeed, but as we know, the U.S. president has declined the visas for the PA from attending the UNGA, which says a lot about, where these negotiations may be going to, including that strike on the mediating team in Qatar. How seriously is Israel and the U.S. at this point taking these negotiations?
I think there's every reason to think that the U.S. does take these negotiations seriously. I am a bit disturbed to hear the sort of framing of the situation right now, that the people of Gaza cannot hope to have a better future until the hostages are home. Okay, understand that. But then the second piece, as Secretary Rubio put it, until Hamas is destroyed. But as I think is widely understood, Hamas is a political movement as much as a military movement. The Israelis have absolutely smashed Hamas as an organization, as a military organization. But you can't get at the political aspect of that through military means alone. That really has to be done by political means, and that means giving Palestinians in Gaza an alternative.
Okay, Barbara Leaf, thank you so much for being with us here on TRT World and sharing that insight with us.
Thank you.